On November 9th, there is a, what do they call this thing, the government's national alert system, okay? And they're going to shut off the TV, radio, everything, all communications for a half hour, 11 o'clock our time, on November 9th, as a test of the system, if you will. Well, really, it's a show of force, okay? They could do this, they could easily do this at 3 in the morning, you know, without disrupting anything. But, you know, it kind of makes you wonder, why do they went over to these, you know, the government requirement for digital TV, HD TVs? Well, this is it, man. So they can have total control of communications, okay? Okay? And you're going to have one voice from FEMA telling you, you know, like, yeah, hey, Gustav, give me your gun and I'll give you a case of MREs, okay? Put you in the camp, you know. So, which leads me to another subject, you know, preparedness, okay? I think everybody, it's really time, you know, if you haven't done anything yet, there's still time, you know. Precious metals, okay? Gold, silver, and lead, okay? And, you know, lead is probably the most important right now more than anything. You know, yeah. Well, you know, with gold or silver, you can buy lead. Anyway, just my thoughts there. And, you know, we have the North American Command, which kind of ties into this alert system thing. 20,000 troops and counting. And this actually happened under the Bush administration, okay, for insurrections and civil disobedience or whatever. It's kind of like this UN thing, you know. We only got our own people doing it. So I'm going to go into the Declaration of Independence shortly here, and a lot of it kind of ties into what has been touched upon today. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. You know, see, unalienable, well, really it's unalienable when you break the word down. So you got to get that, okay? There's inalienable and unalienable. Okay, un is the right word. Okay, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted amongst men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Okay? So, I'm not talking about revolution here, I'm talking about restoration. You know, we already have the charter. We don't want a revolution, we want to restore what we have. Okay? Just that simple. I think that's really important that we make that point. Okay? You read the grievances against the king. You know, I'm not going to go over all of them, but there's a few of them here. You know, it's like, you know, we've gone full circle here. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. Federal judges paid by the feds. You go to court, who do they represent? Yeah, a little, I say, conflict of interest there. I like this one. He has erected a multitude of new offices and has sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, how about, you know, yeah, the SWAT teams that go to the farms. You know, these are, you know, the FBI has a SWAT team, the ATF has a SWAT team, and now the Food and Drug Administration, you know, they have a SWAT team. HUD has a SWAT team. Oh yeah.
Bud?
HUD, yeah, and also the education department. You know, yeah, somebody didn't pay their student loan last year, and they brought a SWAT team from. You know, oh my gosh.
Tea Party has a SWAT team too. It's called Sons of Liberty.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, you know, for protecting, okay, he has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. Well, that sounds a lot like the UN right there, you know. Hey, that's where we're at, man. For quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. Okay, well, we have these 20,000 troops to enforce the Homeland Security laws. For protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states. Well, let's see. We got a wood carver that got killed here recently. Yeah, nothing happened out of that. Waco, Ruby Ridge, you know. Yeah. For imposing taxes on us without our consent. For depriving us, in many cases, the benefits of trial by jury. Okay, yeah, you ever hear about these forced plea bargains they do, you know? Yeah, cop a plea, you know, you're going to lose anyway. And then, I took a Constitution class here about a month ago. Very interesting. James Madison, who talked about the General Welfare Clause and how, and the original General Welfare Clause, gosh, it only had about 6 or 8 things in there. You know, provide for the militia, you know, keep the roads open for the post office, armories, and keep the Navy going, all that kind of stuff. Okay, and nowadays, General Welfare Clause is basically the government providing welfare to every little thing. Okay, so James Madison wrote back then, you know, over 230 years ago, if Congress can apply money indefinitely to the general welfare and are the sole and supreme judges of the general welfare, they may take the care of religion into their hands, they may take the care into their own hands, the education of children, establishing like manner schools throughout the Union. They may undertake the regulation of all roads other than post roads. In short, everything from the highest object of state legislation down to the most minute object of policy would be thrown under the power of Congress. Oh, isn't that kind of what we have now?
Exactly what we have.
Yeah, the guy could really see into the future there. For every object I have mentioned would admit the application of money and might be called, if Congress pleased, provisions for the general welfare. Well, you know, and then they say, okay, well, where's this money coming from? Well, the Federal Reserve is doing that. They just, you know, print money. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, print money out of thin air. Okay, and then we're stuck with the bill. So they can just keep printing money for the general welfare, and there we go, man. We're stuck with it. So, in closing here, I'm going to do, okay, first of all, after doing that, okay, you the general, okay, lose my train of thought here for a second. I'm going to read to you very quickly the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto. Okay? This is kind of scary, you know? Yeah, okay. Number one, the abolition of private property. Okay, that's happening, okay? Number 2, heavy progressive income tax. Number 3, abolition of all rights of inheritance. Number 4, confiscation of property of all immigrants and rebels. And number 5, central bank, Federal Reserve. Number 6, government control of communications and transportation. Remember November 9th, okay? Government ownership of factories and agriculture. Government motors, you got it. Corporate farms, regional planning. Well, yeah, you know, they're in charge of all this genetically modified food we're eating, okay? Government control of education, number 10. We're there. So, whether we like it or not, we are all communists.
There you go.
Okay. And then my last little thing here is short and sweet. Samuel Adams said on the 1st of August, 1776, just about a month after the signing of the Declaration of Independence, when he was addressing all the people sitting on the fence, "If you love wealth more than liberty, if you love the tranquility of servitude more than the animating contest of freedom, go home from us in peace. We ask not your counsels nor your arms. Crouch down and lick the hands which feed you. May your chains sit lightly upon you, and may posterity forget you were our countrymen." So, and one shameless plug for the Sons of Liberty Riders. Okay, we're the Tea Party on wheels. We also take, patriots. You don't have to have a bike to be a member. Okay, but if you do have one, that's cool. And you can look us up on the web, sonsoflibertyriders.com. In peace, brothers. Keep your powder dry.